This pyramid will take your business to the next level. This pyramid says 1s keep their jobs, 2s get noticed, 3s get promoted, 4s become key employees, and 5s lead companies. And so basically in an organization, you have your pyramid and you might have a lot of 1s in your organization. So 1s are the least helpful. They're the very first to point out that there's a problem. So here's a problem, then they walk away from it and they leave someone else to deal with it. So let's say there's some trash on the ground in the company and I'm an employee at the company and I just leave the trash there, or I might just point the trash and say, hey, there's some trash on the ground. So the 2s are, there's a problem and I found some causes. And so let's say I noticed the other employee that threw the trash on the ground, and so that's one of the causes. Or it might be that the trash bin overflowed. So I might know of some causes. And so that's the extent of where I will go. That's how far I will go. Now 3s would be, here's the problem, here are some causes, and here are some possible solutions. And so they will find the problem, they'll figure out some of the causes, and they'll say, okay, here are some possible solutions. So that's a 3. So 3s get promoted, right? And 2s get noticed. So you get noticed. And I'm pretty sure that in an organization, if you're a leader of an organization or if you're working for an organization, you don't want to just get noticed. That's one. The second one is, if you are managing people, do you really want to keep the people that just get noticed around? For the most part, if you're a high performing organization, no. But if you're an organization with thousands of employees and it's a lot of manual labor type of work, maybe you're okay with doing that. But a lot of knowledge work that's required, typically you don't want that to happen. Those of you that are watching this right now, I'm assuming a lot of you are knowledge workers or owners of businesses that have a lot of knowledge work to be done. Now, the fourth one here, we're one from the top of the pyramid. It says, here's the problem, here's what I think caused it, here's some possible solutions, and here's a solution I think we should pick. So then they will find the most viable solution. Okay, so they're going a step beyond that. Then the fifth one, the highest rung, is I identified a problem, figured out what caused it, researched how to fix it, and I fixed it. I just wanted to keep you in the loop. Now, I'm speaking in generalities here, but for the most part, the 5s are the ones that will become leaders and they will become part of the executive leadership team, or they might even go out there and build their own business. The whole idea here is that this caption says that 1s keep their jobs. I would argue that the smaller your organization is, you probably can't have that many 1s, and you get larger and larger, you could probably make more sections for the 1s and maybe some 2s in there, some 3s, right? But when you're first starting out, you want to have as many 5s and 4s as possible, maybe some 3s in there, but you need people that are solution oriented. So they'll point out the problem and they'll come up with solutions. But ideally, they find the viable solution and then they take care of it and they're just keeping you in the loop. Because ultimately, when you're thinking about this from an owner standpoint, you feel a sense of relief because the monkey is being taken off your plate. There's an entire framework that ties in with how this pyramid works. But the key thing here is to understand this pyramid, and then I'll give you the next step. But before we talk about the next step, I do a mastermind. It's a marketing mastermind with motivated founders. And we talk about things like this. We talk about marketing, growth hacks. We talk about things that you otherwise wouldn't learn until maybe 12 to 18 months later, because a lot of stuff can't be shared publicly. So you can go to levelingup.com/founders to learn more about it. Again, it's levelingup.com/founders, and we will continue on here. So the next thing that you need to do with this pyramid is you need to share it with your direct reports, and then they need to share it with their direct reports. Or if you're a smaller company, just share it with the entire organization and say, hey, this is part of our standards of excellence. This is how we do things. And so here's what we expect of you. This is how you go about problem solving. We expect you to be 3s or higher. And if you're not, then we're going to call you out for it. And it's not going to be a good fit long-term if you are not able to at least point out possible solutions and then hopefully get to the point where you can solve these problems. And so the other framework I wanted to call out that ties in with this is the 1-3-1. And what this means is that when someone comes to you with a problem, you will then say, hey, here's the problem. Here are 3 solutions. And then they will pick the most viable one. So you can see 1 problem, 3 possible solutions, and the most viable one. When they're able to do that, and let's say you're a leader, what ends up happening is you can solve the problem with them, and it takes a lot of the onus off of you to have to do the thinking for them. Because in a lot of organizations, what ends up happening is that the direct reports, they will point out all the problems, but they won't come up with solutions. And oftentimes they reverse delegate the thinking to the leader without even thinking about, hey, maybe I was hired to solve these problems and I shouldn't be bringing those problems to the leader. And I don't necessarily fault them for that, because that's human nature. You want to see what you can get, and oftentimes the quickest reaction is the most kind of human reaction. And you want to just go out there and ask, and the leader, the manager, the owner, they want to be helpful. And so what ends up happening is they typically will solve the problem because they have a lot of context. But if you can use this framework when you have someone else that's working with you, then it becomes more of a conversation. And then you are able to get the most out of the people that you ended up hiring because they are now doing the thinking, and more often than not, they're more capable than you are. They're probably smarter than you are when it comes to the role that they are doing. So let me know what you think in the comments. And we have this next video that you can check out, which is on the surprising truth about the hiring process. You can check that over here. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button or rate us on the pod. It helps us grow much more than you think, and we'll catch you later.